My dad's like, if you want to win again, I can teach you how to win again. We've got to put the phone off. We've got to get that mindset back. Get rid of everything that's happened in the last couple of months. Speak to someone properly. Get your mind right. It's nothing to do with your ability. You're the man.
Let's dive into the session with none other than Chad le Clos.
WhatsApp Chad to 084 000 947 to receive a link to watch or listen to this intimate discussion with Chad le Clos.
Top stories. Get the news before it's history in the morning. Our nation is in shock.
He is, in a lot of people's eyes, currently the world number one, Tete, but he's also been one of the great avoided fighters. Oh, and that's the reason why. Goodness me, first punch of the fight, and it's all over. He's knocked him unconscious.
You know, to see a fighter lying down like that is not a nice thing. Of course, I knocked him down, and it was never an intention of him to be unconscious. You know, but it's the sport of boxing. It's one of those things that keep happening in the sport.
He has caught him with an immense shot with the first punch of the fight.
An incredible talent. Our thoughts are with his family during this profound and indescribable loss.
He's caught a lovely shot. Down goes Jason Cunningham. He's always had that kind of power, Zolani Tete. He's a piece of a shot.
Of course, I was worried that what if this would be the last press of Jason Cunningham. You know, those things are happening in the sport of boxing. So I didn't want to experience any of that. And when I went to him, I asked him if he's okay.
It's all over. Wow. And Zolani Tete.
From your MSW family, Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live.
As we always say, life in South Africa has become absolutely cheap, and we mourn again another tragic loss of life, Zolani Tete. This is hashtag MSW, Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Just want to send condolences to the Tete family. You know, Zolani Tete was more than a boxer, two-weight world champion, 11-second KO record, and he put South African boxing on the map. And to die like that at that age, just as his suspension ended, and he wanted, you know, a comeback. It's heartbreaking, Mr. Marawa. South Africa must do better to protect our heroes. Rest in peace, champ. Mdantsane, Swatini. Great show as well.
We're going to be reliving the highs and the lows, as well as the champ that we were so blessed to know in South Africa. May his soul rest in peace. Our thoughts to the family, friends, and also colleagues that were able to share the space, the living space that he had in showcasing the talent that he had as a human being. Today, you went down. You basically have a person who should have been alive, who should have been fighting. I think they had tried to set a date for the 18th of November for him to come back. Remember, he hasn't fought in so long since the ban. But we'll get to all of that and pay a proper tribute, and please be a part of it.
947. Our nation is in shock.
It's all over. Wow. And Zolani Tete.
World Junior Featherweight Champion Zolani Tete. Let me remind you what you said before the fight, and you told the media that, and I quote, "I am going to win the fight. It's up to Jason whether he is going to quit or last the full 12 rounds. But either way, I'm going to win the fight." End quote. You didn't leave him with much option there, did you?
Tete's a good finisher.
I was fighting in his background. You know, we are both from the same promoter, so anything could have happened. So I had to make sure that the level is shown up, and I had to take the win.
You're going to wake up one day and you're going to become a UK citizen. The way they love you so much now in the UK.
The love that I get in the UK is amazing. I always feel at home whenever I get there.
Come join the winning circle.
People described it as brutal, and you were. And that's what fighting is about. You're not there to shake hands and play marbles. Was there a moment when the human side kicked in and you were a bit worried because he lay there pretty still?
You know, to see a fighter lying down like that is not a nice thing. Of course, I knocked him down, and it was never an intention of him to be unconscious. You know, but it's the sport of boxing. It's one of those things that keep happening in the sport. Of course, I was worried that what if this would be the last press of Jason Cunningham. You know, those things are happening in the sport of boxing. So I didn't want to experience any of that. And when I went to him, I asked him if he's okay. He's not feeling anything. He said, "No, I'm fine." He just caught me at the right time, and he congratulated.
It's all over. Wow. And Zolani Tete.
an incredible talent. Our thoughts are with his family during this profound and indescribable loss. From your MSW family.
Good evening, Mr. Marawa. Ukhuluma noSibongile Nomkhwane kaMgaya Matafeni. Sad news about the passing of boxer Zolani Tete. May his soul rest in peace, Mr. Marawa. And I wish ukuthi umndeni wakhe ungabopheka ngebhande likamoya wengcwele noma kubuhlungu. But we have to accept each and every situation that comes our side. Thank you, Mr. Marawa. Good choice always.
We press pause on scores. We press pause on the fixtures, on the headlines. And that's why tonight we have to remember a champion, a fighter, a son of Mdantsane. I mean, a man whose journey kind of took him from the streets of the Eastern Cape to the very, very top of world boxing. The truth is, here we are today on the 24th of August, 2026, at 1828. And again, we have to remind ourselves that Zolani Tete is no more at just the age of 38 years old. I mean, a life that had already given South Africa so many unforgettable sporting moments was tragically cut short on Friday night. Tete was arriving at his home, just to paint a picture, arriving at his home in Mdantsane when, according to police, two masked gunmen opened fire on the car in which he was traveling. He attempted to escape the hail of bullets by driving into his yard, but sadly succumbed to his injuries at the scene. Now, the circumstances surrounding the attack remain under investigation, and we will go live to Mdantsane to chat to the police spokesperson live over there for the latest update and find out what is it that really happened. I mean, the circumstances, we will not be able to fix what has happened, and they will become part of a police investigation, believe it or not. Our focus is on the life that he gave us. Our focus will be simply because before the tragedy, there was the journey. There was a young boy who started boxing at just the age of 8 years old. A talent that was nurtured by former world boxing champion Uvuyani Pongo, a fighter from Mdantsane who dared to dream beyond his surroundings, and eventually a world champion. Tete conquered the world not once but twice, becoming a champion across 2 weight divisions. Imagine that. But perhaps no moment captured his brilliance quite like that night in Belfast on the 18th of November, 2017. Siboniso Konya stood across the ring, the bell rang, and just 11 seconds later, Zolani Tete had made history. 11 seconds, the fight was over. The fastest knockout in a world title fight, a Guinness Book of World Records that still stands up until this moment. It was not simply a knockout. I mean, it was a statement. It was a culmination of many years of sacrifice, of discipline, of pain, of belief. 34 professional fights, 29 victories, 22 knockouts. I mean, those numbers that tell us what he achieved, but never quite capture who he was. Because Zolani Tete was more than a record. I mean, he was more than a belt. He was more than a boxer. He was a symbol of what could happen when talent meets determination and opportunity meets courage. And even after the difficult chapters in his career, Tete still believed there was more to come. And that's why earlier this year, as that suspension was nearing its end, he spoke about returning to boxing. He wanted another fight, another opportunity, another chapter. And at the age of 38, he still believed that the story wasn't finished. And sadly, life wrote a different ending. And that's why tonight we remember Zolani Tete, not for the way he died, but for the way he lived. We remember the little boy from Mdantsane. We remember the world champion. We remember the knockout artist. We remember the man who carried South Africa's flag into the ring. And we remember the dreams that he inspired and watching, from boxing gyms across the country. Every fighter eventually hears the final bell. But some fighters leave behind a sound that never fades. And Zolani's final bell has rung. What about his legacy, you all ask? The bell will keep echoing. And that's why tonight, South Africa literally mourns a champion. The Eastern Cape mourns one of its own. Boxing mourns one of its warriors. And we on MSW honor the life, the journey, the legacy of Zolani Tete. May his soul rest in peace. The fight is over. The legacy lives on. Colin Nathan joins me, boxing manager and trainer. I could tell from how you looked when you walked in that you've had a lot to think about, and you're not a happy man on many fronts. But let me send my condolences to you. I know the role you've played, and it must be truly sad for you.
Firstly, good evening to you and the listeners, and it's very unfortunate that I'm here today speaking about someone who was very dear to my heart, who's late, Zolani Tete, and I'm literally directly in front of the South African flag. And I am going to disagree with Zolani on the one quote, may his soul rest in peace, where he said, I'm loved in the UK. No, he's wrong. He's loved all over the world. My phone literally blew up when the bad news spread from all over the world. America, UK, Japan. And it's still a very bitter pill to swallow, and I am battling along with the South African boxing public and the boxing world to swallow.
In hearing the news, and it took me a double take because there are certain things you don't expect. I expected to see him in the ring on the 18th of November if things were going to go according to plan. And then I had to do a double check and say, but I'm in South Africa. This is where on social media we watch video clips of people being shot and killed every day. It's become a life. It's become something that doesn't even trigger any remorse anymore. I mean, have we become such a cold society, Colin, that a person like that, and if accounts are correct, is that in part of his routine, that evening at 7:30, he was now preparing to go for his choir or the church service that he so religiously went to, but was not able to get to.
I think society, not just in South Africa, I think around the world, is basically the way you described. I think obviously social media has a lot to do with the desensitivity of how we react and how we feel. But this one was different for all of us, especially those who knew Zolani and who were in the mix of the sport of boxing. And it's crazy because it's 33 minutes past 7. I got a text saying Tete shot and is dead. And I was like, I shook my head and I was like, I could believe it. And I was a friend of Zolani's neighbor that obviously saw and heard everything. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And it's like one of those, when you're looking at your phone and you're trying to comprehend what you're reading, and it's just not, it's not resonating. Like you just don't understand what's going on. And I'm like, are you sure it's Zolani? Yeah. And the person responded saying yes. And it's just, heavy days, just very, very heavy. And then, of course, you ask around. I phoned a couple of my guys in my team, and I said, I don't have good news to share. And the first thought was, do I phone him la? And someone close in our team said, Colin, give him a shot because at some point you're going to call him. So, and when I called him la, I said, la, just please tell me this news isn't true. And he said to me, Colin, I'm afraid it is. I'm at the scene.
That's Mlandeli Tengimfene, who's Zolani Tete's promoter and manager. To expand on that, because we're hoping to get him on the line as well a little bit later. Like I said, as we try and figure our way through this, Colin, and you'll give us the human side, I'm also interested in finding out where we are from, and I'm sure you are too, because as we mourn, it might not bring him back into life again, but we also need to know that justice is being served at the same time. We have the spokesperson for the Eastern Cape SAPS, Brigadier Nobuntu Gandana, who is on the line. Brigadier, thank you so much for your time. Good evening and welcome to the show. Are you able to share with us the accuracy and the accurate nature of where we are right now? We tend not to always believe what is out there on social media, but thank you for taking the time on what must have been a busy day for you.
Good evening, Robert, to you and your listeners at home. Where we are currently at the moment is that we have 4 people that are in custody. As you all know, the one person appeared in court today, that is 22-year-old Zolani Tete, who was the first suspect that was arrested on Saturday, the 22nd. Then we also have 3 suspects that were apprehended on Sunday, the 23rd. 2 of them are the ones that were arrested from Scenery Park. They appeared at the Kukombo Magistrates Court for possession of unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition, and they will be joining the 3rd suspect that was also apprehended yesterday evening at the Mdantsane Magistrates Court. So tomorrow we will be having 3 suspects that will be appearing in court, all for the murder charge of the case of Zolani Tete, as well as the attempted murder charge for the female passenger that was injured during this attack. So that is currently where we are with regards to this case.
Based on the investigation, how many people or suspects are you looking out for?
At this very moment, we really cannot say, because we are basing everything on the information that we receive. Because you find that, for example, on Saturday, if you might remember, we had arrested 2 people. One was the 22-year-old that appeared in court, and the other one was the 30-year-old that we had to release because we discovered that there was nothing that was linking him to the crime that had been committed. So which then means that we are basing everything to the information that we receive. As and when we receive information, we follow up on that information, and then based on whatever facts that we actually discover, that is when we are able to charge a person or able to release a person. So we might be having more people that might be arrested, or these 4 might be the only people that have been linked to this case. We are still continuing with this investigation, though.
I mean, obviously, it's a very swift action, though, from the police, and we got to commend them for that. I initially thought, from the onset, that if it is suspects or it's suspects that were wearing balaclavas, that it might make life that much more difficult from an identity perspective. But it does look like your kind of investigation has dug deeper in getting these 3 or 4 already under the police watch.
Yes, that is correct, because we actually had a tip-off, but also besides the tip-off, we usually follow up on intelligence information that we receive as well. So we would follow up on all the tip-offs and all the information, the links, which also are like some of that is the evidence that we get as well from the crime scene, whether it's the stuff that we receive, like your bullets and all of that, as well as the type of vehicle that might have been used, because you would find that at instances there are people who see something, and fortunately in this case there was someone that actually gave us a tip-off, which was our main link that actually helped us to crack the case. And then we followed up on other information with our detectives in this regard.
What's the motive?
The motive at the moment I cannot divulge, because this is an ongoing case that is in court. But all that I can say is that as SAPS, we are aware of the motive behind this case.
I saw a gentleman in a wheelchair in court. Is that one of the suspects? Because I wasn't really following, but I could see that there was somebody. Is he part of those who've been arrested?
Yes, he is the first person that was arrested. That's the 22-year-old that we apprehended at the King Palo Airport in Kukombo on Saturday.
And just the circumstances around him, what would make him the number 1 suspect?
He is currently the number 1 suspect in the sense that he is the first person that we were notified of and that we followed up on and then arrested. So he's the one that then linked us to the other people that we have been able to apprehend.
And the passenger, I know you referred to her earlier on as being injured. Is she still in hospital? Any news that you can share with us about her condition?
Her condition is critical but stable, and she is still in hospital at the moment.
Any other details, Brigadier, that you would want to share that maybe I haven't been able to ask you?
At the moment, as mentioned, there are the two suspects that appeared in court for the unlawful possession of the firearms. So they will be appearing with the third suspect tomorrow. And we are still continuing with our investigation as the SAPS, and we are updating the public as and when we receive information, but we do appeal to the public to refrain from spreading unverified information, because you might have seen on social media there was a lot of speculative information that was quite circulated. So we are appealing to the public to refrain from doing that, as this can compromise the investigation and prejudice the court proceedings.
Yeah, that's why we thought it's important as well, Brigadier, to have you on the show as we pay tribute to the champion with Colin Nathan in studio, that we hear your voice. You get to tell South Africans and the rest of the world where we are with this case exactly. And I want to thank you so much indeed for your time and the great work that SAPS has done so far in apprehending those that seemingly would have been part of this. Thank you so much, Brigadier.
Thank you so much, Robert.
Appreciate it. That's Brigadier Nobuntu Gandana, who is the spokesperson for the Eastern Cape South African Police Service. And I'll get comments from Colin Nathan. There's lots of tributes as well. Get the inside track, maybe get his thoughts on what he thinks about where it is and what he feels. I mean, yeah, geez, Colin.
Our nation is in shock.
It's all over. Wow. And Zolani Tete.
I can tell you that the newly crowned IBF International, WBO Intercontinental, as well as Commonwealth Junior Featherweight Champion is on the line. Zolani Tete.
It's so absolute very goes and that's it. It's all over. Wow. And Zolani Tete has exploded back onto the world scene. Unbelievable.
I still have goosebumps just listening from the commentary. The fight was very exciting, especially the winning moment. I mean, I couldn't wait to hear myself winning once again, becoming a champion. The first thing I couldn't wait was to see the smile of the South Africans when I landed back here at home. I was not sleeping properly, you know. At times I would just dream about the happiness that people would be doing at the airport when they are coming to welcome me.
An incredible talent. Our thoughts are with his family during this profound and indescribable loss. From your MSW family.
Robert Marawa, Eastern Cape Premier, will fail us to this Zolani Tete funeral because he well deserved a state funeral. But Ngogena Upis mentioning Ogwana, he is not the first person to be a champion. Uzas Felisha, because in a negative attitude towards a funeral, because Zolani Tete, they are not going to award him a state funeral instead of giving him state funeral. Please, Eastern Cape, do not fail Zolani Tete.
Please share some of the details of what you're saying. If he is saying that today in 2026, then that person has no respect for us. He's got no respect for boxing. He's got no respect for sport. A two-time world champion in two different weight divisions. And if what you're saying is exactly what is being said by the leadership of the Eastern Cape, then they have absolutely no respect for us.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the MSW shoulders. Speak to Riani in the Western Cape. Very gutted on this Monday. Sad, particularly with the loss of Zolani Tete, in a crewman, such a humble and approachable person he was, you know. And I'm glad that first suspect has been arrested. It was a swift response. We also need to congratulate the investigative team for the swift and prompt response to that, you know, to the family. My heartfelt condolence. Also, may God be with him in this period of mourning and planning a stage for the funeral. It's only deserving that he gets a state funeral. I know I've heard the Premier in another interview said he submitted a proposal to the president. So yes, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. You can only submit a proposal and do so much. But if in the same breath you're saying he's not the only world champion to have done this and that, then I don't know. I really don't know. Colin Nathan is here with me in studio. Nomaganjani, boxing manager and trainer, and somebody very close to the now fallen hero and champion I mean, I spoke earlier on about the Guinness Book World Record that still stands. I mean, those are some of the highlights, Colin, that will make you smile because there were many more similar to those.
That was breathtaking. You know, it's like if you blinked, you would have missed it. Yeah. It was one of those moments in boxing that belongs to South African and African boxing. But if we talk about performances, the one that really stood out for me was against Paul Butler. Paul Butler was the bantamweight champion, the IBF, 118 pounds. Then went down, was unbeaten and went down to 115 to challenge Zolani's IBF super-flyweight championship. And that night, Zolani was flawless. And if I tell you flawless, like every young fighter coming up who's southpaw and wants to get that flow and edge and trigger. Zolani, I was actually discussing it with someone this weekend. Zolani had the best trigger, and that's a feint, I've ever seen in my life. And it is the epitome of Eastern Cape boxing. His style was amazing. It was breathtaking. His punch accuracy was sublime. His punch placement was just incredible. And the way he framed with the jab, he was the full package. He is arguably one of the most talented fighters South African boxing has ever seen. And we're talking in the same mold as like a Wakamnita, Viadi Bungu, Botili. And of course, my ultimate favorite was Dingonto Bella. But his technique was just amazing. And of course, there was the charisma and the good looks too.
Sure. And it never stopped. That's why I said earlier on, South Africans needed to hear and see him. And it's a pity, where, and I've lamented this so many times, that there's been very little respect, especially for boxers who go out and win titles outside of South Africa. I've spoken to you about it so many times as well, Colin. And when people say, Zolani, who? What did he do? And so on, you get disappointed because he is exactly that, the hero that Umla Tegimvan, as Zolani Tete's promoter and manager, would probably rightly agree. Firstly, that our condolences to you, condolences to the fraternity. Here we are on a Monday. What's going through your mind?
Thank you, Robert, and good evening to you and the listeners. Robert, I've never been in. I know Zolani has been invited several times by you and through me.
Sure.
I've never spoken to you before, and indeed it confirms that Zolani is no more.
Which is the sad thing. Which is the sad thing, though, Bramla, because he was more than happy to be behind the microphone because that's how sure and confident he was of his abilities.
In abilities in communicating, abilities inside the ring, abilities in handling the fame. Most of us do not handle the fame. Zolani managed that perfectly. Whether he sees you in the mall, whether he sees you in the gym, whether he sees you at Orient Theatre, wherever he was going around, he was loved in Liverpool. And that is Zolani. And a rounded boy. And you don't find such caliber of Zolani. You don't find, not easy. He's a rare. I used to say to him, he's a rare breed.
And I mean, as we recover from what has happened over the weekend, somebody said if you do speak to Upramla, ask him to maybe tell us what he believes has happened here because the nation has drawn a blank. They don't know. They can't even identify what it is that a Zolani Tete could have done wrong in this world.
And it can only be me. It can only be me. You can come up with all the fake news and when I received that call from his number, only to find out it is his girlfriend. Tamla, Zolani has been shot. And I knew exactly, because it's been building, it's been brewing for the past 7 years. It started when we were in Lafayette, United States of America. But people do not know about it. It's only unless Dinile, very close friend of mine, because I was with him then at the stage when all this thing started.
What started?
It started by him receiving a call. That as you must know, an anonymous call. As you learned in South Africa, you must know that we're waiting for you. And there was just a lot of things that were happening. Remember, we didn't fight on the day, if you remember. We were supposed to be fighting Nonito Tone. Zolani had an injury, shoulder injury. And immediately getting that call, and he had an injury, we took a decision, no, Zolani, let's not risk here. We can't risk. We are still champions. And as we arrived at home, first thing that we did as the family, the Tete family, was it was something within the Tete family. We sat down as the family, and they said to us, someone came to our house and said Zolani is going to die. But it's a speculation. It started as a speculation, and he would report that. And it died down because it was COVID immediately after that. And then last year, September, it came up again. Sharply, last year, December. And at the time, Zolani was in Johannesburg, training boxers in Johannesburg. And I got a call from the Hawks to say, La, where are you? Do I? I'm in Cape Town. You driver, stay in Cape Town for now. Where is Zolani? Zolani is in Johannesburg. He must stay there. No one must know about it. You are being wise. Somebody is looking for you. So it has been coming. It has been coming. We knew about it and we reported this thing, Robert.
But did the police do anything in terms of a follow-up? I mean, if there's something as blatant and clear.
They did, but it would somehow disappear. And then we continue with our life. And we continue with our life, and it was December time. It went silent in December. But Zolani would always call me and say, Tamla, please, the threat is still there. The threat is still there. And then we'll continue training again. Ask these guys, what is happening now? But don't worry, everything is there. And then we lowered our guards. If it's in boxing, it was round number 11, round number 12. We have been holding our guards from round 1.
Because you thought that you thought that the threat had cleared.
It has cleared.
Yeah.
Only to get this on Friday.
All right. So what I'm trying to do here, because I've got Colin Nathan in studio, and
yes.
There's some profound things that you are mentioning, and we also have to celebrate the champ himself.
Yes. In fact, Colin knows about it.
Yeah. No, he's here. He is nodding. What I'm saying for those that are listening, we're going to take 15 minutes after 7 just to chat to both of you. But also to ask some questions, though, and if anybody wants to add on to this, maybe let me end it this way for the sake of those who are listening on the conventional radio stations now who are going to migrate to the YouTube channel for the conclusion of our conversation, is that if, and I say if, he were to have witnessed who shot him, even if they were wearing balaclavas, do you think that he would have known who those individuals were if he were to be able to tell the story?
Zolani?
Yes.
No.
Okay, let's leave it there. Let's close things off officially here as we talk about the life and the times, and also from what we heard from the Brigadier earlier on, giving us the latest update on what is happening from the arrest perspective. Colin Nathan is here. Nomaganjani is here. Ubram Landeli. Udengimvene is also on the line. Zolani Tete's promoter and manager, as we try to delve deep and also celebrate at the end of the day a man who was such a great human being, but also equally such a great boxer and a fantastic soldier for South Africa. This has been #MSW Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Marawa Sports Worldwide on 947, Monday to Friday from 6 to 7 p.m.